Welcome everybody to our very first edition of Toolkit Tuesday. We created this so that we could bring you valuable information, some that you might be able to use today and some that you might be able to use later. We really are going to focus on RV, automotive, marine, and power sport industries. And we hope that you find something of value that you can take away. And today, in our very first edition of Toolkit Tuesday, we have our CEO, Richard Delancey, and our VP of BDC Operations, Megan Cooper. It's so good to see you guys.
Hey, thanks for having us on Toolkit Tuesday.
Yeah. How's quarantine been?
It's strange. I'm used to being in dealerships, over 200 days a year. So
I
the fact
know.
that I've slept in my own bed for 24 days in a row now, my bed's pretty tired of me. I know the dogs are, because when I'm away, they get to sleep on my side.
Thanks so much.
You can probably hear my dogs.
That's okay. You know what? We're all home. You might hear some kids somewhere in my house, or we're good. Everybody is good. So, today we decided that we were going to pick a topic of chat. Everyone is virtual right now, and we need to adapt to the times that we're currently in. And Megan, what are you seeing right now by means of chat? From data to ROI, what's happening?
So I'm super excited to talk about this and have this be our first Toolkit Tuesday topic, because we're really seeing a huge increase in chats right now. It was something that was obviously trending in the industry or across multiple industries before, but now we're seeing a huge influx of chat and really great low funnel customers too. So while there's also some of the service side as well, predominantly we're seeing a lot of customers that are asking about sales specials, that are wanting to speak to outfitters and salespeople, and really wanting to go to the next step of the sales process. And what's really interesting right now is that while they're still wanting an immediate answer, they're taking themselves down that sales process, which is really an interesting thing to see. So it's definitely a huge topic and a huge thing that dealers could potentially be missing out on if they don't have a great sales process in place.
Do you think at this point there's dealers out there that are not seeing the value of chat?
I think there's definitely a potential for dealers not to see the value in chat, not because they don't believe in it, and not because they don't know that this could be a way that they could capture customers that are on their website, but it's really hard to have that process in place at their dealerships. Right now dealers are having to deal with things that are uncharted territory and changing every day. So it can be difficult to also navigate coming up with a new process for something that customers want immediately. They want immediate answers. So if you're trying to have your salespeople answer the chats that are also trying to sell units, you could not see the value in that just because of the process.
Right.
So I do think that there's some of that going on, but there's a tremendous value in ironing out that process in your dealership to capture the data immediately, because they convert at crazy high numbers.
When you're talking about chat, you're not just talking about chat on a website. You're talking about chat on your website. You're talking about Facebook Messenger chats. You're talking about Facebook Marketplace chats that come in, as well as maybe inbound texts that dealers might have set up. Yes?
Right. Facebook Messenger is huge. So, while it's super important to have a process and to have chat on your website, it's equally, if not even more important, to make sure that somebody is monitoring your Facebook messages and of course, putting the right messages out there, the right advertisements out there to get those chats, and to have somebody that's monitoring that is giving the right messages to your customers.
Right. What do you feel is the biggest mistake right now that dealers could be making with chat?
I think the biggest mistake is that two things. Number one, not having the right people answer your chats. So if you're having someone answer your chat that you're expecting to do multiple roles in the dealership, it's probably not going to work. because they're not going to get that immediate answer to the customer who, you know, we all feel it as consumers too. I am particularly impatient. So if you
So
are, you know, the same, right? So, you know, if you're making me wait for 5 minutes for an answer, now I just have a bad taste in my mouth. So, you know, it's almost, you're almost better off not to capture that customer, because if, you know, it's almost better to have no experience instead of a bad experience. So, you know, I think that's, you know, the first step of what happens when it could go bad, right? So that they just don't have the process in place for it.
So Megan, at this point, I mean, if there are dealers out there that are considering chat, you know, right now, what would be the best advice that you could give them?
So my best advice is to pick a chat partner that's really aligned with your business and with your success model, and to make sure that the software is easy to use, is user friendly, and that whoever is answering your chats is talking to your customers in the way that you want them to be spoken to, and have that immediacy that's so necessary.
Okay. Rich, you have any questions for Megan at all, or anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, does the Facebook surprise you about how quickly it's grown?
Yes, it really does. And again, that was definitely a trend that we were seeing before everything happened. But the way that it's blown up has just been tremendous. And you would think that it would have dropped off, but it's grown exponentially.
Yeah, I mean, I know if I'm on there and I'm using Messenger or if I'm using chat, I am definitely expecting an answer relatively quickly. I'm not looking to, you know, I would email them if I wanted to wait for an answer. So I can see how valuable it is right now, since we're all at home on our computers doing what we do best. So Rich, you know, the other day you posted a really great post on LinkedIn. Explain to me what ADA is.
It's
You
so
mentioned ADA in
it's
your
so
in your
funny, man.
post.
I went way old school, OG, back to 1993. I was a young radio sales rep. A guy named Ron Chubb broke me in on the business, and he taught me about ADA. I later found out, I think he ripped off the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, but it is a really good philosophy in that it stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. And what his philosophy was that a consumer takes these 4 steps before they buy something. So you have to be, you know, something has to grab your attention. You have to get interested in the product. You have to have a desire to go buy it. And then finally, the last step is you take action. And I've been reading all of these chats coming in from the BDC. One of the cool things that Megan and I can do, we can monitor what our people are saying for our dealers. And I'm reading a lot of chats because we're stuck at home, and I'm seeing that ADA process is playing out in chat, and really where it's playing out is the attention. Something grabbed them at the very beginning and made them click on the link. All right, that everybody got their attention. Where I think the process can get a little rocky at times is in that interest and desire. As Megan said, they have a crazy conversion rate. Once these people are ready to go, they set up an appointment, they set a call, they do a virtual appointment. So trying to get them from the A to the other A is really the challenge in chat.
And you mentioned some tips too, from that interest and desire. Can you get a little bit further into those tips?
What we see sometimes is on that interest side of things is that from an action standpoint, something grabbed them, they press the button, then they immediately freak out. Oh my gosh. All right. I think they think Megan's going to come knock on their door any second. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. What can we do to get those people interested, right? Because something grabbed their attention to accidentally press the button anyway. They say it's an accident. You and I, we both know that's not true. And so just what our BDC reps were doing at first was, hey, no problem, no worries, have a great day. But rather than just giving up on that chat, maybe try something hey, not a problem. We have a lot of people that are interested in our no payments for 90 days, zero down offer. Get something out there, next line, and then they might say, oh, you have no payments for 90 days. Yeah. And that helps keep them in the boat. The harder part is going to get into that desire phase, because the other place where we see chats fall apart is simple questions. They come in, are you open tomorrow? Yes. And then it's like they go into witness protection. Our BD agents never hear from them again. And so what can we do to move them into that desire standpoint? I think some good questions like, how many people are going to be traveling with you? Do you see yourself going across the country? Are you looking for like a permanent site up by the lake? Try to paint the vision in their head of how they're going to start use the product and continue on. I made the joke last week, like, I'm interested in losing weight, but to this point, I don't have the desire to go work out. So what we have on these people is something grabbed their attention. They're interested enough to ask you, hey, do you deliver at home? And then they're backing off. What can we do to help provide desire? And asking some product usage type questions can help bring that desire to light. So then once we get them into that action stage, it's all downhill from there, that easily to set up an appointment and get them in.
And you're still seeing chats. I mean, you're seeing a good bit of them coming in and quality, not just quantity, right?
Yeah, we have a big dealer group across the South, has 5 stores, and March, when the whole world got shook up, was their second highest chat month in the history of the company. And when you think about that, it's crazy. And April's running ahead of where March is. April probably will blow away the old records. I think one of the reasons why we're seeing this proliferation of chats is we're at home, right? So if I'm at work and I'm shopping when I shouldn't be, I'm probably not going to want to have the chat window up on my computer when my boss walks by. I'm going to fill out an internet lead form, or I'm going to wait. But now when we're sitting at home and it's easier just the chat. Also, too, I think from an RV standpoint, as the millennials start pushing into their 30s and starting to get into camping, millennials are much more chat people and text people than phone, right? They're not like us. They never had to stretch that long stringy cord into a closet so you could have some privacy, right? They grew up in the age of cell phones and they like chatting. So I think that has some of the reason why it's starting to really, as Megan said earlier, we saw the trends going up, but the COVID-19 pandemic has just blown it way up.
One thing that I forgot to mention earlier is that this is one of the mistakes that dealers make and even make when they go to look at who they're going to partner with from a chat perspective, is these customers are even more important, and that is probably something that's a controversial thing to say, but chat is becoming more important than internet form submissions. So getting these customers in a workflow and making sure that if you ask them, how you can best assist them, or you ask your initial question and they don't respond, to put them in a workflow to keep following up with these customers and making sure that none of them fall through the cracks, and that you don't just, all that traffic costs you money to get there. So to make sure that you don't just let them hang out there, that not only do you answer their question, but that you work them like you would a form submission in your CRM, is the new age of chat follow-up. And not very many people are handling it like that. And it's a super, super important switch that every dealer has to make.
So what are they doing? They're just answering the chat, and then if they don't respond, that's it? There's no follow-up, there's no workflow, there's nothing?
Correct.
That's wasting a lot of money.
It is.
Right.
And it's so funny how the world has progressed, because in the internet in 2011, 2012, it was all about the internet lead form for dealers. Yeah. And they would get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of internet lead forms a month. 2013 rolled in, the iPhone, the smartphones, the Androids became a lower price point. Everybody was getting into it. And dealers started seeing for the first time, the forms started to decrease and the phone calls picked up. And they really had to develop processes in those times to track those phone calls, because the internet lead form was easy. They had it in their email. They could print it out. They could go to George and say, hey, that thing I gave you yesterday, what did you do with it? but all of a sudden phone calls were coming in and there was no accountability. And we saw companies like the Call Reviews of this world and the Marchecks of this world and the Car Wars of this world started putting those processes into place to track that traffic. I think the next evolution we're going to see now is that people, to your point, we got to be able to track these chats, what's going on, because the internet lead form itself, that's now twice removed, right? Phone calls are dying out. Chat is going to become more and more prevalent as we go forward. So being able to track that is so important.
It is. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to hop on with me. And I think it's some valuable information for all of our dealers. And we really do hope to bring more of that quality content to you every Tuesday. We're going to choose a new topic. If you have something that you would like to hear or you want to talk about, or if you'd like to even join us, please feel free. Email me, Tricia@dealershiptoolkit.com. We'd love to have you on. Anything that can help right now, if we can even help one dealer, we've done our job. So we thank you very much for joining us. And Rich and Megan, it's so good to see your faces. And we look forward to seeing you all next Tuesday.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.